everyone, it's Melody Snowflake and welcome to another character analysis video. I actually did not expect to be doing another one of these so soon. I have considered doing some for a few characters, but I haven't gotten around to doing so, and I certainly wasn't planning to do one for this character in particular. But after meeting a couple of fans of her and actually having a conversation about this with a friend quite recently, I decided, you know what? Why not? Let's do a character analysis of Hiyoko Saionji because she's actually a very interesting character. Because on the surface, she does not appear to be the nicest despite her appearance. And yet, there is a little bit more to unpack than you would expect. So, like I said with the previous analysis videos, spoilers are definitely in order, especially for the second game that Hiyoko appears in, Danganronpa 2, and the Danganronpa 3 anime, though not many spoilers are from there, but she is in there, so there might be a few mentions here and there. Most of what I'm going to be discussing, though, will be revealed in the game itself, and particularly in Hiyoko's free time events. So there won't be too many spoilers for the plot, fortunately, but there will be spoilers on how she treats the other characters and how, the interactions are with them and all that stuff. So, without further ado, let's get straight into it. Hiyoko Saionji, the ultimate traditional dancer. At first glance, she appears really innocent, especially before her growth spurt, which you might notice that she looked a lot younger than an average teenager. She had a really high-pitched voice, and she just seemed really, really cute. But in the second game, when you first meet her, when Hajime first meets her, you find out really quickly in the first 5 seconds that she's not all that she seems. After all, she was pressing her finger against the ground and trying to squish an ant and saying it was pretty amusing when it pops. Now, that's not a very nice thing to do. And of course, later on, she started trying to trample crabs at the beach. Now, let's just say that this is something I'm not even going to touch on. Hiyoko clearly does not treat certain life forms very well, and that's just not good. But what I really want to cover is how she treats people, because I think that's what's really interesting. I haven't been able to find out much on why Hiyoko likes to, mistreat other, creatures or even flowers, even though she loves flowers because apparently they're pretty to her, but why she still likes to destroy them? I haven't managed to find much on why she does that, so I'm not going to speculate on that because what I'm trying to cover here is the canon and Hiyoko's perspective and not my personal theories. So, since we don't have much information on that, I'm not going to be able to cover why she mistreats animals, especially small animals like insects and crabs, and even flowers. I can't really speculate on that, and I can't deny that that's just horrible to do. But what I really want to talk about is why she treats people the way she does, because she doesn't hurt them in the same way. She doesn't kick them or hit them. She just says mean things to them. And of course, words are very hurtful. Just because she doesn't physically hit them doesn't mean she's any less harmful to them in the sense that she hurts them. But there is actually something to unpack here in terms of why she does all that. To understand Hiyoko's treatment of other people, we first have to go back into her childhood. Hiyoko was born into the Saionji clan, and that whole family is, it has a very high reputation. In fact, it's always been targeted by jealous people or assassination attempts and things like that. In fact, as a kid, Hiyoko had fallen victim to a lot of mean pranks, or worse, such as pins in her shoes or even poisoned food. Imagine a child thinking that, oh my goodness, she almost got poisoned. That must have left some scars. Hiyoko grew up with her parents, but was eventually taken in by her grandmother, who raised her strictly to follow the family's traditions, which also explains why she's so traditional, though Hiyoko already liked traditional things as a default. In fact, she likes anything that's traditional, from traditional Japanese food to culture. She just likes anything that's traditional. She was raised in that way, and, well, she just likes it. At a young age, when she was first living with her parents, her father was very protective of her. He was different from the rest of the family because he simply married into the family. He wasn't born into the family. So he was slightly different in terms of how he saw things and how he treated everyone. As a result, Hiyoko was attached to her father. I mean, who wouldn't be? He was really nice to her, and he was always protective and keeping her safe and looking out for her. He even said he'll stay awake if she's dancing in a performance, which is really nice. But of course, she was taken away from her father by her grandmother to be raised strictly according to family laws. And Hiyoko did not like that at all. She called her grandmother an old hag, but she still loves her all the same. She was raised to become a traditional dancer and was really talented. She had really high expectations placed upon her from that really young age. That probably made her rebellious. As much as I said I wasn't going to speculate earlier, now that I'm at this point, it makes me wonder if her kicking things and attacking other creatures might be just part of her rebellious nature. Though it doesn't make it any more right, it still might explain why she does it. And Hiyoko has been victim to all these cruel pranks as a kid. You know, her family's been targeted, so even a little girl was almost poisoned, and like things were almost dropped on her head, and she got pins in her shoes, and you know, who knows how many other horrible things happened to her as a kid. So obviously, she would grow up being more defensive. In fact, Hiyoko got so defensive that she started bullying others as a result. If you think about it, Hiyoko, who has been mistreated since she was a kid by complete strangers, would get really paranoid about being attacked. Of course, she does not show it, she can't, but she's actually really emotional and sensitive. Think back to how she acts during the games. Whenever someone says something directly targeted at her, she starts crying immediately. A lot of people think it's just guilt tripping on her part, but I think there is a lot more to it than that. When you spend free time with her, Hiyoko always cries and then says, "Ha, Hajime, you got tricked by my fake crying." But Hajime never believes that it's fake. He always says, well, you can't just say that when you have tears in your eyes. Because she was actually crying. She doesn't want to show any weakness because she can't. She's been targeted at such a young age that she's grown to have to fight against all of these things. She can't show that she's been affected or weakened by any of that stuff, though she still is very vulnerable. So whenever she gets something targeted at her, she gets very emotional. She starts crying about it. But the moment she gets the upper hand in the situation again, she immediately takes control. And that is where we get to the root of Hiyoko's character. She's always so mean to other people. She's always saying mean things to everyone else, calling them nasty names that I will not say on this channel because that will destroy my family-friendly image of the channel in the first place. But she's always mean to other people, and yet, why? Does she hate everybody all that much? Well, maybe she sees them as a threat because complete strangers who didn't even know her tried to kill her as a child. And these people who were supposed to be her friends or classmates, well, she doesn't know if she can fully trust them now, does she? Not to mention, she's always been mistreated like that as a kid, targeted, so she probably acts like this as a defense mechanism. She doesn't want anybody to come and think that she's an easy target. In fact, she's doing this thing where she wants to scare everybody away before they can scare her away or attack her or hurt her or do something along those lines. Is it nice to say those mean things? Of course not. But can you blame her for wanting to just keep herself safe after everything that's happened to her? Not really. Hiyoko has been going through all of this ever since she's a little kid. As a result, you can see why she grew up to be a bit rebellious and even defensive against other people. I know some people might say that there's a difference between being defensive and mean, but in Hiyoko's case, she literally got really mean pranks played on her. So, to fight fire with fire, she's just mean to everyone back in return, hoping that no one would dare cross her, because if they do, well, she's gonna give them an earful, and she's just defending herself. She's just doing it to protect herself. I'm not saying that it's right to be mean to other people or to even bully other people. I've been bullied myself, and it's not pretty. But Hiyoko is doing it to protect herself. I'm just trying to say that from her perspective, that's what it's like, because she just wants to defend herself from getting targeted by other people. And of course, all of her fans, well, a lot of her fans are older males, so you can understand one of the things she often says. Yeah, especially to all the male students, because she feels threatened. Because, imagine a minor and lots of older male people are your fans because they think you get the idea. So that's why she's sensitive about that. So she's defensive. She's doing all of this nasty things to protect herself. And maybe there are better ways for her to defend herself against all these. Maybe there are better ways that she could cope. Maybe if she had been shown more emotional support in coping with all of these childhood scars, she wouldn't be so out there and mean to other people in order to scare them away. She is lonely deep down. In fact, she says all these things such as, "You make me really happy when you talk to me," to Hajime, and then says she's kidding. Hiyoko, like I said earlier, does not want to show vulnerability. So every moment of vulnerability we see is actually genuine, because she has to express how she's feeling but doesn't want to show weakness. So she goes ahead and expresses it and then pretends that she never actually meant it in the first place. Oh, and the whole thing about her wanting everyone to be her slave, well, apart from the fact that it could be because of her family background being so, well known and all that, and up there in the classes of people, she could simply just do the slave thing because she wants to feel in control of situations, so that instead of everyone targeting her, she makes everyone listen to her instead. So it gives her a sense of more control and to protect herself. At the end of the day, Hiyoko is like the rest of us, trying to survive in this cruel world. How she goes about it may not be the best, but at the end of the day, her nature is just trying to protect herself from people who are targeting her, and who have been targeting her since she was little. She's trying to push everyone away, or to show them that she's not someone to mess with, so that they would not come and target her first. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hiyoko isn't a character I was expecting to make such a video on, and honestly, I'm kind of surprised that this video lasted as long as it did, but I really hope you understood it. I don't hate Hiyoko, not at all. In fact, I think she's a very interesting character. She's not my favorite, but she's okay, in my opinion. Of course, I feel bad for Mikan every time Hiyoko targets her, but Mikan is a different story, and I hope to do an analysis on her one day. Who knows, maybe I should really start doing this more often. Danganronpa characters are so interesting, and like I said in my video of what Danganronpa has taught me, they are all just people. Every character is just a person. The choices they make are what set them apart, but at the end of the day, they are all just people trying to live and survive in this world based on their own personal circumstances. Hiyoko is a very interesting example of that, because even though she appears mean and heartless on the surface, she's far from it. She's actually very sensitive, and she's trying to fight in this world to survive, because she's been targeted for so long. And as a result, she wants to show someone, or other people in general, that she's not one to mess with, in the hopes that they would not mess with her. Maybe I should in fact do a video on other characters. Let me know who you'd like me to talk about next in the comments, and I'll think about it and hopefully make something else. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I'll see you in the next video.